Good morning and welcome to Tip Off, coming to you live from Los Angeles, California. I'm David Locke, radio voice of the Utah Jazz, Jazz NBA insider. Excited to have you with us today. Just found out that the question and answer feature did not work getting set up today, so I apologize for that. That should have been up. I should have been able to take your questions today. We'll have to save that for tomorrow. My fault on that. There's limited to no production right now due to a computer glitch where I can't run sound back through, which I got to get solved out, so I can't do podcasts on the road. So all of that means bum, 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 pow. Hope you're great. If someone is apologize that we couldn't get. If you need to ask a question, you want to ask a question, it's not up, and you want to leave it on the front page of the event page, I'll be able to get to it for you. I'll get you your beautiful view of the marina here from Los Angeles, and let us move forward with the program. It is time. By the way, Jazz home Wednesday against Cleveland, Friday against Dallas, both obviously worth getting out to see. If you can, get your tickets at weareutahjazz.com, utahjazz.com along the way. There's a good the Cavaliers, the Bulls, and the Pelicans. A good three-game pack that's available at 801-325-2999. I think that's done by Papa John's, so you get a medium pizza as well. And speaking of Papa John's, I hope you took advantage of the new Papa John's special. Every time the Jazz win, you can use the code JAZZ50 the next day for a half-price pizza at Papa John's. Online orders only, but the code is JAZZ50 on days after Jazz wins. So I hope you used that on Sunday while watching football to take full advantage of that new promotion that's going on right there. All right, we're in Los Angeles. Let's hit the NBA 5. Well, the Lakers aren't worth much for wins these days, but Kobe is for quotes. Another great Kobe quote, because I don't want chumps. I don't want pushovers. If you're a chump and you're a pushover, I'll run over you. So it's important for him to give me toughness. That was Kobe about Jeremy Lin the other day. Some interesting trends early in the season. Golden State's undefeated and fabulous and defending. That's the thing that jumps out more than anything else right now is their defending. And that was the question when their offense was not great last year. The question was going to be, and they were great defensively, when they lost Mark Jackson, would they lose their defensive prowess? But the hiring of Ron Adams, who is probably the best defensive coach in the NBA, assistant coach, he's had a hard time staying in the same place very often, is join the Warriors, and they are the best defensive team in the NBA right now, allowing just 87.5 points per 100 possessions. They're playing at a fast pace with fabulous defense. They really couldn't look any better, led by Klay Thompson. Sacramento seems to have made a little bit of a defensive jump. They had a big win the other day. They're playing a moderately paced game, and right now they're only allowing 96 points per 100 possessions, but it's still early. They're about the 7th best defensive team in the league right now, which is worth keeping an eye on just because if Sacramento's going to get better under Mike Malone, that's going to do it. DeMarcus Cousins had 34-17, 5-3. 34-17, 5-3 in a mammoth win over the Clippers yesterday afternoon in LA. So keep an eye on that one. Chris Bosh has been brilliant so far. Miami has yet to lose. He's averaging 26 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. More importantly, though, he's averaging 4 threes a game and 10 free throw attempts a game. He's almost become the perfect mix of a modern-day player, both attacking inside and outside at the same time. Darren Williams had a disturbing night the other night. 19 field goal attempts, no free throws. That leads me to believe that ankle's not as much better as he's been talking about. Jumped out to me when I saw that. The rookies, oh my gosh, what a dreadful start to the most vaunted rookie class since the LeBron Carmelo class. It's only been a week, but listen to these numbers. Andrew Wiggins shooting 38%, Jabari Parker shooting 35%, and Otto Porter the other night went off when being guarded by Jabari. Worth keeping an eye on what other teams' small forwards do against Jabari. Aaron Gordon's only played 6 minutes the other night. He is shooting 54%, but he's averaging only 5 points, 3 rebounds, and assists. Dante Exum, who is being playing kind of the least amount of minutes of anyone at 16 minutes, being brought around very calmly, is actually playing the best of anyone at 54% shooting and 50% from three. Marcus Smart is shooting 21%. Julius Randle is obviously out. Nick Stauskas is shooting 34%. Elfrid Payton is shooting 36%. Doug McDermott is shooting 38%. Tyler Ennis has played 18 minutes, is shooting 25%. Rodney Hood is shooting 21%. Shabazz Napier would probably be rookie of the year right now at 5 points a game at 63%. And of the second round draft pick, KJ McDaniel, Jordan Clarkson's playing a little. He's at 28%, and only 2 second round draft picks are actually getting any time. So the whole discussion of depth of this class hasn't shown yet really either, as numerous rookies have yet to play, either due to injury. Joel Embiid, Noah Vonleh have not played. Dario Saric's not here. TJ Warren due to injury. Adrian Payne due to plantar fasciitis. Gary Harris hasn't played yet. Mitch McGary due to injury. Jordan Adams, I just don't believe, has gotten off the bench yet in Memphis. P.J. Harrison just hasn't got off the bench yet, nor has C.J. Wilcox or Kyle Anderson. So the opening week for the rookie class has been a complete bust compared to what everything's been talking about. Fun one to keep an eye on. Lance Stevenson didn't play the fourth quarter the other night for the Charlotte Hornets. In the opening 3 games, their big free agent signing doesn't even play in that fourth quarter. And in turn, he and Steve Clifford had to have a talk and a conversation about things. Charlotte's in a lot of trouble. Charlotte has too many players that are inefficient, that don't play the game the correct way with their offensive efficiency. In Kemba Walker, in Al Jefferson, and Lance Stevenson, and their offense is going to be miserable all season long. Speaking of Kemba Walker, 9 rookies sign extensions as a record in one offseason from that draft class, which actually wasn't supposed to be a big draft class. Obviously, the big story, frankly, is number 3 pick of that draft. Enes Kanter does not get offered an extension in that class. When you suddenly look down the Alec Burks draft class, which is the Kyrie Irving draft class, Kyrie got the max deal. The only deal that really jumps out to me in that I really wonder about when you look at that draft class and the extensions that were given is the draft of the pick of Kemba Walker. But here's what I was getting at. It's pretty interesting. Derek Williams, 2nd pick. Enes Kanter, 3rd pick. Tristan Thompson, 4th pick. No extensions. Jan Vesely, 6th pick, no extension. Bismack Biyombo, 7th pick, no extension. Brandon Knight, 8th pick, no extension. Kemba Walker, extension. So the only, and Jonas Valanciunas was a 5th pick. He actually came a year later, so he's up next year. But so of the top 8 picks of that draft, I mean, this is just a bizarre inverted draft. The only players that have kind of established themselves to the level of extension is Kyrie Irving. But Derek Williams on multiple teams now. Ennis hasn't done it. Tristan doesn't get the extension. Vesely's out of the league. Biyombo's struggling in Charlotte. Brandon Knight's now in Milwaukee and struggling. Kemba gets the extension. Jimmer switched teams, and then you get to Clay with the max. Alec with the 12th pick got his. The Morris twins got signed. Kawhi Leonard got signed. Vukovic got signed. Amon Shumpert did not. Kenneth Faried at the 22nd pick got his extension. Reggie Jackson at the 24th pick. But that is a really bizarre draft because 11 through 20, other than Kyrie Irving, is much better than 1 through 10. That is your NBA 5. Have the production ready. Here's Ennis.
Dennis Cantor, I want to hear from you. Call 801-200-3738 and ask me a question. That is 801-200-3738 to ask me a question.
See, there was Ennis. It just is not coming through my system for some reason. All right. From a Jazz standpoint, they give Alec Burks the contract. Let's walk through that for a minute. Here's the process on the contract extension for Alec Burks. The first decision you have to make as an organization is, do you like the player? One. Is this player someone who you want to have be a part of your future? So that's the first question, and the answer to that was yes with Alec. We know his unique skills and what he does. There's still great question marks of how he's going to develop. The second part of that equation then is you have to look and say, okay, if we don't get Alec, we like Alec, but if we were to do something else, what is out there that is better? And then here's the key line that we guarantee we can get. So you might look at the free agent market coming up and say, I like Aaron Aflalo better. I kind of like Wesley Matthews better than Alec. You may or may not. I mean, there's just, but for the sake of discussion, and you can say, okay, well, what would their price be? And then the next question is, what would it guarantee us to get them? We can't really afford to go into the open market um, to replace Alec. We'd have restricted free agency, so we could probably match, but now we're not dictating the market anymore, as we learned with Gordon. And what would it cost to replace him? And would we guaranteed to get him? And the answer is, so you get that value, and then you realize the risk. Now you go in. If the answer to your first question is yes, now you go into contract negotiation with Alec and just try to figure out what you can get done, and the number of what you can get done might be, it's got to be something that makes it worth from their side to not go to free agency. Do we overpay Alec? I think time will tell. I think there's still a great question mark on it. Alec's got some unique skills. He should be an offensive player that can score, and then he promptly didn't score a lot the other night because Favors and Hayward went off. Over time, I think he'll average 15, 16 points a game this year. I think he'll become a better three-point shooter. I think he'll become a better – it's really interesting what they talk about with him. We've talked about this a lot if you've listened to this podcast. If you listen to this podcast, we also told you Alec's deal was going to get done. So maybe you should listen. Oh, wait, you do listen to this podcast. I'm preaching to the choir. Alec has a hard time concentrating when he's not guarding the ball. I mean, this entire time that we've talked about Alec, the two things I've talked about, he's got to learn how to play with teammates with the ball, and then he's got to learn how to play off ball both offensively and defensively. Playing with teammates with the ball is understanding that if he goes on a little adventure outside of the offense, no one really knows how to react to it. Playing without the ball is making sure he runs through all of his cuts and doing all the things. And then defensively, he has a tendency to relax off the ball and get beat. I mean, he really had a bad night in Dallas on that. And these are the things that but these are, as Quinn and Dennis both said, he loves the gym. And he's going to find the gym. And if he's finding the gym, then he'll develop in these areas and in these ways to become a better player. So that's the process by which you walk down whether you sign Alec. The number, to be perfectly honest, the number is higher than when DeMar DeRozan's at 11, I have a hard time putting Alec at when DeMar DeRozan's at 9 or 10, I have a hard time putting Alec at 11. But with the inflation of the upcoming market, if you're going to get a deal done, that's probably the way you're going to get it done. And the fact that Alec wanted to be in Utah, stay in Utah, get the deal done, wasn't looking to go to restricted free agency to try to get out at an opportunity, I think meant that, hey, maybe you up the price a little bit just so you can get that deal done. And frankly, when with Ennis' situation not being clear at all what his future is, I think you got to secure Alec. I think you got to grab a third piece of where this franchise is going. And obviously this franchise now, to some extent, will largely wait on one of two, maybe one of three things before it can make its next jump. One is the development of Dante. Two is whether it can combine any of its other assets to acquire a major significant piece. And the third is, frankly, the development of next year's draft pick. Those are the three pieces along the way now for this franchise to develop. That's a slow road and probably a little boring for a fan base to look at, but that's where we are. A patient, not boring, patient is what we're talking about. This is very weird. I'm black and silhouetted and can't see myself if you're on the video, but you would much rather have the view of the marina and the water than me. At least I hope. The Jazz won their first game. Quinn Snyder got his first NBA win on Saturday. Derek Favors was mammoth. Again, if you listen to this podcast or postcast, the one thing that I've talked about throughout is that I think Favors is the one who's going to benefit most from this offensive system if you can find a four that can space for him at all, because he is now playing largely from the top of the key and from the free throw line in like a mini Amari instead of a mini Carl. And it really opens up his strengths and his quickness. It helps his rebounding. He's getting about 6 points a game on offensive rebounds right now. And he was just terrific. He went at guys. I love the fact that he went back at guys a second time the other night. He showed a relentlessness that I haven't seen before from him. And maybe most important is that he scored 30 points in an NBA game, which he's never done before. He hasn't scored 30 points in a game since his senior year of high school. He only went over 23 times at Georgia Tech. There's to some extent the one area where I do think these kids are hurt by coming out early, and I am not a believer in an age limit, nor do I think that they're hurt by coming out early, is that a guy like Derek, if he'd stayed at Georgia Tech, became the go-to guy by the ACC tournament a little bit. But there was another big that was a kind of a, I can't think of his name right now, that played on that team. It was a very collegiate big who got a great deal of touches Derek did not get. And had Derek stayed at Georgia Tech for another 2 or 3 years, he gets the ball, he's the man, and he develops into that go-to player. Now he's trying to do it on the NBA scale, which is hard. Tonight he's got to do it against Blake. But I almost think he may have taught himself something the other night that he didn't necessarily know that he could do. That's how big a deal I think that game is for Derek, is that there may be a point here where he realizes, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And he picks that piece up. I thought Gordon was brilliant. And one of the things that's not happening the way Quinn wants it to right now is the outlet passes and the attack at the 45. What Quinn would like to see is a rebound outlet to the guard on the sideline, who pushes ahead to the other wing player, who attacks at the 45 and flattens the defense. It's just not happening. Trey is really passive on that. If you watch it, there were a bunch of plays where he had Markieff Morris or Marcus Morris there, and that's a big guy. Trey's got to attack the guy. I mean, if worst case scenario he comes out with a swivel search dribble, you've now at least flattened the defense, and that's not happening right now. Trey's really scuffling with the pressure when he comes across the half court, attacking at the 45, and creating those opportunities, getting out of those two situations to create opportunities. Alec's not really doing it either, though. Alec comes up, and too often they're getting, and then they're just jumping to their flow. They're not playing, or at least, Quinn would hey, probe and retreat out at least, but flatten the defense a little bit, and that's not happening a great deal. What Gordon did the other night was started to throw that outlet pass. They got that to happen. Guys have to run, and guys have to really be willing to run, which is hard in this league. I mean, it's really hard to run like that. It sounds silly, but to run like that is really hard, and guys have to be willing to do it. But Gordon did a fabulous job the other night of grabbing that outlet pass and launching it forward. He changed the game in that sense. Then his third quarter offensively was terrific, but his outlet passes the other night were what Quinn's looking for and change how this team plays a little bit. Big moment of that game, unquestionably, was third quarter when Trevor Booker checked in for Enes Kanter 1 minute into the quarter to get get Ennis, and the Jazz just played a million times better with Trevor Booker at the 4 than at Ennis. We've got to figure out a way to get Ennis going. I think there'll start to be some questions about starting the lineup because we knee-jerk it if we go back to, and remember, maybe there'll be a change at some point here, but let's remember kind of maybe the brilliance and strength of Sloan was that every change happened about 4 or 5 games later than you think it should have. Let every player try to play through their situation, and when it becomes unquestionable, then probably make the move. Rather than when you think, this might be a good idea, let it play out. It will probably tell you the right answer over some time and with some patience, rather than just making an immediate knee-jerk move over an 82-game schedule. And we'll see. Now, there might be some arguments. Trevor started 100 and some odd games in his NBA career, and he might understand how to play that for. And maybe there's a way that Ennis, going back against second-tier bigs, can regain his confidence that he's had at different times in his career. And that, and if that's the case, then maybe it's sooner rather than later that you make this decision. If in fact it plays out that way. But tonight's a night where hopefully Ennis will be productive. It's a dual big lineup. The Morris twin speed was too much for him, and hopefully he loves playing in LA, so hopefully Ennis can get going a little bit tonight. Dante was good. Rodney's still struggling a little bit with his shot, and it's going to be a road for these rookies. I did a little research this weekend. Here's fun little notes for you. I've got all of our players contested versus uncontested shots right now. And I think these are defined as shots outside of, this is not all of their shots, I don't think, though it might be. I think this is shots outside of certain feet. So Trey is shooting 38% on contested shots and 29% on uncontested shots right now. Alex at 41% contested and 46% uncontested. Gordon's at 45% contested and 47% uncontested. That's getting pretty good. Gordon Favors at 61% contested, amazing. 50% uncontested. Ennis is not showing up on the player tracking for whatever reason. I know the irony is really thick, but it's still kind of weird. Trevor Booker's shooting 70% on or 69% on uncontested and 58 on uncontested. Dante doesn't take contested shots. He's only taken 4 of them, but he's shooting 57% on uncontested. Rodney Hood doesn't take contested shots either. 33% uncontested, 4 of 16, 25%. There was a play the other night with Rodney. People have kind of wondered, well, how did he drop? And one of the reasons why he dropped in the draft is he's not an elite athlete, and he's going to be a really nice player, probably the right situation, a starting guard, in some other circumstances, just a really good bench player, and that's where he was drafted. And there was a play the other night where he came baseline, and he had a gap and had a window to rise up and just hammer it. And that's a huge part of this game, the ability to rise up and just pack it. It sounds, it's a huge part of the game because it just opens up your opportunities, the way you attack, they'll defend differently. And Rodney instead came in, jump stop to 2 legs, ducked, defender goes over the top of him, foul, and Rodney goes to the free throw line. So it's a nice play, but there's a lead NBA player, you got to pack that. And it's that little lack of athleticism of why he was available at 20. He's not flashy, and he'll figure this out. The lack of shooting is not a problem for him right now, but if you're just wondering, kind of dissecting his game, well, why would scouts let him slip? There's a reason usually, and he's just going to have to learn how to play around that aspect of his game. All right, I apologize I screwed up the questions today. I really like to take your questions at this point of the broadcast, but I screwed that up somehow. I thought I turned it on. Let's see, Taylor Cottrell on this event page. Do we learn anything about Dante, the way he responded to the Clippers and the Suns about being beat pretty good, but then the first time around reacting? I don't know. I think tonight will be interesting because it really we'll see what the Clippers do to him and how Jordan Farmar, our veteran, reacts to him off the bench. I do like the fact that he bounced back in the second game against the Suns. The Suns seemed off. I mean, we're not 20 points better than them, so I think that's a fair assessment that the Suns seemed off. The other aspect about Dante, though, I think that's very important is there's a high intelligence that he's a really, really bright kid. He has a remarkable ability to get instruction and incorporate it. There was a drill earlier this year where they were moving his hand position when he defended the pick and roll, and he immediately could do it. That's hard, actually. It sounds just do it now. Going at full speed, working an NBA game, trying to instinctually get back to that and change that, I think, is a very difficult thing to do. Trent Tuller, great question, Trent. Just so I'm not misleading my fellow fans, and I explained the court layout. Can you please define the 45? That's a great, because I'm using it in my call. If you take from the basket, a 90-degree angle straight out of the basket would be straight to the free throw line to what's called the nail. The nail is there's a little nail that's on the free throw line that is right in mid-court. It's where you line up your free throw if you're a shooter to know that you're straight away. So that's the 90-degree angle, right? If you take that now, split the 90 in half and draw lines out at the 45 coming each direction out of the basket sideline, 45-degree angle, that's where Quinn wants the attack coming from, attacking at the 45-degree angle. So nice job. Thank you. Craig Liddard, do you see Axum shying away from attacking the 45 like Craig wants his guards to do? I see all of them doing it, shying away from it. I think it's a problem, frankly. I haven't decided whether I'm asking that to Quinn tonight in the coach's show after a win or whether I'm going to wait till another time, but there's a possibility that I will throw that question in there today. Let's see. Does the Clippers losing last night help or hurt our chances? Hurts our chances badly. Yeah, no, it hurts our chances badly to win tonight, the fact that the Clippers lost yesterday, and also lost yesterday afternoon. They're not playing great. so far. They have played 3 games. They beat the Thunder by 3, the Lakers by 7, and the loss to the Kings. They have not quite clicked in yet to where they are. And stats are a silly thing right now because they don't tell a lot, but they're just very middle of the pack. They're about 15th in the league defensively right now. And the only reason I don't think that's offensively they were number 1 in the league last year. They're about 15th right now. They haven't clicked in. I guess the only thing I think the stats tell you right now is actually what's happened. I don't think it gives you any indicator of what's about to happen. It just tells you what's happened so far. The Jazz are the 3rd best offensive team in the league right now. Dallas is so far and above everybody else offensively right now. It's stunning. They're at 118 points per 100 possession. Miami's at 114 points per 100 possession, and we're at 110. That's a pretty large jump. But the Clippers are at 104. They're just not. That's probably where they'll be all season, or a little higher. 108 to 109 will probably lead the league. They just really haven't clicked in yet to the way that the way that they want to play. So we'll see. Maybe they click in tonight, unfortunately. Okay. That is the show. I hope you're well. Thank you for tuning in. Enjoy yourself today. Bye.